You don't need a cleanse, you need a frequency shift. And it doesn't take an hour of meditation, a crystal grid, or perfect conditions. It takes 5 minutes and the willingness to remember what you actually are. Most people walk around carrying energy that isn't even theirs. You absorb the stress from the grocery store, the tension from a conversation 3 days ago, the worry humming through your family line, the low-grade anxiety of the collective, and because you can't see it, you assume it's you. You think the heaviness in your chest is your personality. You believe the fog in your mind is just how you think. You carry the weight and call it normal. But here's the truth. Your energy field is not a fixed thing. It's not a personality trait or a life sentence. It's a living atmosphere, a magnetic sphere that responds to intention, breath, sound, and presence. And just like you can change the temperature of a room by opening a window, you can shift the frequency of your field in minutes. Not because you're performing magic, because you're remembering physics. Everything is vibration. Your thoughts are frequencies, your emotions are electromagnetic signals. Your body is a tuning fork that either resonates with clarity or static, and most of the time you're tuned to the static without even realizing it. Someone cuts you off in traffic and your field contracts. You scroll through bad news and your frequency drops. You walk into a tense room and your aura absorbs it like a sponge. And then you wonder why you feel off, why you're tired for no reason, why nothing feels quite right. The problem isn't that you picked up bad energy. The problem is that you forgot you have the power to release it. You've been conditioned to think that shifting your state requires time, effort, a retreat in Bali, or at least a full moon. But the masters knew better. They knew that energy moves with awareness, that what you bring your attention to either solidifies or dissolves. That presence is the solvent for everything that doesn't belong. Imagine your energy field like the surface of water. When it's still, it reflects the sky perfectly. But throw a stone in, and the ripples distort everything. Most people live in a constant state of ripples. Thoughts like stones, interactions like waves. They never get still long enough to see clearly, and because they're always rippling, they think that's just how water is. But you are not the ripples, you are the water, and the water can always return to stillness. Here's what you need to understand. Energy doesn't accumulate because the world is against you. It accumulates because you stop paying attention. You stop checking in. You absorb, and never pause to ask, is this mine? Does this belong here? And so your field becomes a storage unit for everyone else's unprocessed emotions, unspoken tensions, and unresolved frequencies. You become the echo of 100 different people's chaos. And then you try to meditate your way out. You light sage, you take a salt bath, you buy a new crystal. And those things help, sure, but they're not the root solution. The root solution is simpler, faster, and available to you right now. It's this: conscious recalibration. A deliberate shift from the frequency you're in to the frequency you choose. Not because you have to earn it, because it's your natural state and you're just clearing the static. So here's how you do it. Not as a rigid ritual, not as a checklist, but as a return, a remembering, a coming back to yourself. First you stop. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you stop. You don't need to sit cross-legged or light candles or find the perfect quiet room. You just stop. Stop moving, stop scrolling, stop talking, even for 30 seconds. Because most bad energy clings to momentum. It feeds on distraction. It thrives when you're in autopilot. The moment you stop, you break the cycle. And then you breathe. Not the shallow survival breathing you've been doing all day. Real breathing, conscious breathing. You inhale slowly through your nose, filling your lungs completely. And you imagine that breath pulling in light, not metaphorical light, actual light. Because breath is the bridge between your body and your energy. It's the thing that moves what's stuck. You exhale through your mouth, long and slow, and as you do, you imagine everything heavy leaving your body. The worry, the tension, the energy that isn't yours, you see it leaving as a dark mist, dissolving the moment it touches the air. If this message resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and join a community of awakened souls walking the same journey of spiritual alignment. You do this 3 times, 3 full breaths. Deep, intentional clearing, and already something shifts, because breath doesn't lie. It bypasses the mind and speaks directly to the nervous system. It tells your body, we're safe, we're resetting, and your field listens. Then you bring your awareness to your body, not to judge it, not to fix it, but just to notice it. You scan from your head to your feet, and wherever you find tension, you soften it, not by forcing it, just by acknowledging it. Tension is trapped energy. It's emotion that got stuck in tissue, and the moment you bring awareness to it, it begins to release. Your shoulders drop, your jaw unclenches, your chest opens. And as your body softens, your field expands. Because here's what most people don't realize. Your energy field contracts when you're in fear, stress, or defensiveness. It pulls in tight, like a fist. And in that contracted state, everything feels heavy. But when you soften, when you let your body relax, your field naturally expands, and expansion is clarity, expansion is flow, expansion is the opposite of stagnant energy. Now you name what you're releasing. You don't need to say it out loud. You just acknowledge it. Silently or aloud, you say, I release what is not mine. I release the energy I absorbed today. I release the worry, the tension, the fear that doesn't belong to me. You're not fighting it. You're not wrestling with it, you're just naming it and letting it go. Because energy follows intention, and the moment you intend to release something, it begins to dissolve. And then, this is the key, you call in what you want instead, because clearing alone isn't enough. You have to fill the space with something intentional. Otherwise, you just absorb the next thing that comes your way. So you say, or you think, or you feel, I call in clarity, I call in peace, I call in alignment, I call in the frequency of my higher self. You're not begging, you're not asking permission, you're declaring, you're tuning your field to the station you want to be on. And finally, you ground. You place your awareness at the base of your spine or your feet, and you imagine roots growing down into the earth. Deep, strong, unshakable. Because grounding is the anchor. It's what keeps you from floating off into everyone else's energy again 5 minutes later. When you're grounded, you're connected to something bigger than the chaos. You're rooted in your own frequency, and no one else's static can knock you off center. 5 minutes, that's it. Stop, breathe, soften, release, call in, ground. No incense required, no full moon, no permission from the universe, just you choosing to reset. Choosing to come back to center, choosing to remember that your energy is yours to direct. And here's what happens when you do this regularly, when you make it a practice instead of a panic response. You stop absorbing everything. You stop carrying the weight of rooms you walked through hours ago. You stop feeling drained for no reason, because you've trained your field to stay clear. You've built the habit of recalibration. And habits are just frequencies you've practiced until they become automatic. Think about it like this. Your energy field is like a white shirt. If you wear it all day, every day, without ever cleaning it, it's going to get stained. It's going to pick up dirt, sweat, the residue of everywhere you've been. And you wouldn't wear a dirty shirt for a week straight and then wonder why you feel gross. But that's exactly what most people do with their energy. They wear the same frequency all day, all week, all month, never stopping to clear it, never pausing to reset. And then they wonder why they feel heavy. But when you learn to clear your field the way you'd wash your hands, when you make it a simple, regular practice, everything changes. You walk through the world differently. You stop taking on what isn't yours. You stop feeling responsible for everyone else's emotional weather. You become a clean slate, again and again, moment by moment. And from that clear space, you make better decisions. You feel more like yourself. You stop reacting and start responding, because you're no longer operating from a field full of static. This isn't spiritual bypassing. This isn't pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's the opposite. It's being so honest with yourself that you recognize when something doesn't belong. It's having the self-respect to say, this is not mine and I'm not carrying it. It's knowing the difference between your energy and the energy of the world. And that discernment is power. Because most people spend their entire lives trying to manage their emotions, trying to control their thoughts, trying to fix their feelings. But they never address the field. They never clear the energy. And so they're just rearranging furniture in a cluttered room, wondering why it still feels off. But when you clear the field first, when you reset the frequency, the thoughts calm down on their own. The emotions settle. The clarity returns because you've addressed the root, not just the symptoms. And the more you do this, the more sensitive you become. Not in a weak way, in a powerful way. You start to feel when your energy shifts. You notice when you've absorbed something. You catch it early before it becomes a mood, before it becomes a pattern, before it becomes your identity. And you clear it immediately, like brushing your teeth. Like washing your hands. It becomes automatic, second nature, a reflex. And from that place of clarity, you start to realize something profound. Most of what you thought was you wasn't you at all. It was accumulated noise, borrowed frequencies, inherited patterns, collective anxiety. You've been carrying it so long you forgot what your actual energy feels like. But now, every time you reset, you get closer to it. You remember. And the more you remember, the less you tolerate anything that pulls you away from it. Your energy becomes your priority, not in a selfish way, in a sacred way, because you realize that when your field is clear, you're more present, you're more loving, you're more available. You show up better for the people you care about. You make better art. You have better ideas. You live from your center instead of your wounds, and that benefits everyone. This is what the ancient traditions knew, that you can't pour from an empty cup, that you can't be a light if your own field is dimmed by static, that clearing your energy isn't vanity, it's responsibility, it's spiritual hygiene, it's the foundation of everything else. Because you can't manifest from a muddy frequency, you can't hear your intuition through static, you can't love fully when you're carrying everyone else's fear. But when you clear your field, when you reset your aura, when you come back to your own frequency, everything flows, synchronicities increase, doors open, the right people appear. Your intuition gets louder, your body feels lighter, your mind feels sharper, not because you did something mystical, because you removed the interference. And here's the beautiful part, the more you do this, the more you realize you were never broken. You were never too sensitive. You were never flawed. You were just clogged, carrying what wasn't yours, operating from a frequency that wasn't aligned. And now you're clearing it. Now you're choosing. Now you're taking your power back 5 minutes at a time. So if you're reading this and you feel heavy right now, if you feel off and you can't explain why, if you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world and you don't know how you picked it up, this is your sign. Stop right now. Put your hand on your heart. Take 3 deep breaths and say out loud or in your mind, I release what is not mine. I call in clarity. I return to my center. And feel it shift. Feel the heaviness start to dissolve. Feel the space open up. Feel yourself coming back online. Because that's all it takes. Not a guru, not a ceremony, not permission. Just you choosing to reset, choosing to remember, choosing to clear the static and come back to the signal. This is your birthright. This is your power. And it's available to you every single moment of every single day. You don't have to wait for the perfect time. You don't have to wait until you're drowning. You can clear your energy right now, and then again in an hour, and then again tonight before bed. You can make this your practice, your anchor, you'll return. And when you do, you'll stop feeling like a victim of your environment. You'll stop feeling like you're at the mercy of everyone else's energy. You'll become the keeper of your own frequency, the guardian of your own field. And from that place, everything changes, because you're no longer reacting to the world. You're creating from your center. You're living from your clarity. You're operating from your truth. And that, more than anything else, is what it means to be awake. Not to escape the world, not to rise above it, but to move through it without losing yourself, to carry your light without letting it get dimmed, to be in the chaos without becoming the chaos. And it starts here, with 5 minutes, with a breath, with the decision to reset your aura and reclaim your frequency. So take this with you, not as information, as a tool, as a practice, as a way back to yourself whenever you need it. Because the world will keep throwing energy at you, people will keep projecting, situations will keep triggering. But now you know how to clear it, you know how to come back, you know that your energy is yours, and no one else gets to decide what frequency you operate on. If this resonated with something in you, if you felt the shift even just reading these words, then let that be your confirmation. You're remembering, you're waking up. And the more you practice this, the more you'll realize that clarity was never far away. It was always here, waiting for you to choose it. So choose it, now and again and again. Not for the algorithm, not for anyone else, but for your own alignment, for your own peace, for your own light. Because you deserve to feel clear, you deserve to feel free, and you deserve to move through this world without carrying weight that was never yours to begin with. To celebrate your arrival, we've prepared a gift, a guide to help you navigate your inner transitions with clarity and elegance. Alignment. 7 Phases of Consciousness Awakening. Download your copy from the link in the description.